Hey everyone, it's Dabacabb here, and I am back with another Afterwatch. This time, BeastDM has sent in 2 gameplay videos for us to check out. So just a quick note, I had a few people say that I am a little bit critical in my Afterwatch videos, and I hope people understand that, yes, I'm like criticizing gameplay, but it's not to be like negative or mean or to bring people down. It's to, you know, help people figure out what they're doing well, what they're not doing well, so that they can improve. It's meant to be much more constructive than it is to be critical. So emphasis on the constructive and constructive criticism. Okay, so anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Right off the bat, one thing I'm noticing is, real quick, she is breaking down the banisters, which for those of you who don't know is a good strategy, because a banister will block your bullets, or will block a certain amount of bullets depending on the banister. It's not a super big deal if you're a tracer because she shoots so many bullets that the banister isn't going to block that much. But if you're like Widowmaker or Hanzo and you line up the perfect shot and the banister blocks your bullet, that really sucks. Okay, so anyways, one thing I'm noticing is you are a little bit conservative in your playstyle. I mean, up against that Genji, I play a lot of Genji, and I have a... Oh, this is smart, getting out of this hallway. Actually, in another Afterwatch video, there was a soldier, I think, shooting the person in the hallway, and that person did not back out. And you did back out, so that's a smart play. Basically, soldier can't miss you in that hallway, so it's smart to not engage in there. Anyways, so as I was saying about Genji, I play a lot of Genji, and I feel like Genji is a little bit outmatched versus Tracer. He just can't reliably... That's a good dodge right there. He can't reliably put shurikens into the Tracer because Tracer's so small and fast. So Tracer will just out-damage and outlast the Genji. So if you're up against a solo Genji, just go in on it, man. You don't really have to worry about too much. He's going to have a really hard time killing you without his sword. And he just can't reliably do 150 damage. He can get the dash into you. The dash is easy to land, but after that, he's still got 100 damage to go, and you can just recall and get back up to 150. Okay, anyways, backing up a little bit, you use your ult on that Reinhardt, which is okay. That's not really your job as Tracer. Tracer Bomb doesn't do a whole lot of damage. It's like 300 or 400 or something. I forget. But I try to not use it on tanks because, number one, you're not really guaranteed a kill. And number two, it's not really who you're supposed to be using it. You're supposed to be using it on backline people, healers. So you dashed away from the Genji, which is logical. You know, you survived. But in general, when the enemy team ults, what I try to do, whoever I'm playing on, is to survive and also support my team. So in that case, maybe if you had been sticking around to put damage into that Genji, maybe he would have died, and maybe more of your teammates would have lived. You know? Okay, so normally Tracer is a really good counter to Reinhardt, but not in this tiny room. In this tiny room, it's smart to get out. But if you can find him in open space, Tracer will destroy a Reinhardt. I think you got caught because you were trying to recall, and it was on cooldown. But that happens. That's fine. So I think you're not spending enough time on the back line. You're kind of like spending all of your dashes to run around the outskirts of the fight to get to the fight. But you should be like behind people and sneaking up on people. Coming into this Mercy is really smart. I probably would have done it earlier. That's your target. That's your number one target in the game. Go get her. Go get her. It's your job as Tracer, who is a flanker, to get into the back and get Widowmaker, get Mercies and Yada, a lone Torbjorn who hasn't had time to set up his turret yet. It is fairly smart to pull out of that Junkrat engagement. Junkrat is pretty strong against Tracer just because his grenades hang out on the floor for a while. And basically, alright, well, I can understand why you sort of reflexively fled that Roadhog, but while he's healing, that's a great way to build up charge because he can't really do anything. And then as soon as he stops his healing, you dash out of there before he can hook you. Anyway, so this is what I would want to do. I would try to ult the Mercy right there instead of the Junkrat. I also think that Tracer is a pretty good counter to Soldier, but not while the Soldier is standing on his healing beam, and not while you have to run through. Like, if you're going to go through this tiny doorway where he, you know, has a great shot on you, you got to dash through it so that he can't hit you very easily. But okay, so this is a little bit of a disclaimer. I don't play a whole lot of Tracer. I played her a bit, but my go-to flanker choice is Genji. I just prefer his playstyle. So I'm not an expert on Tracer by any means, but I think that you're using your blinks a little bit incorrectly. You're using it more to like get to the fight quickly and to move from one position to another in the map. And you're not really using them to fight, like to dash into a fight, put in damage to people really quickly, and then dash around so you can survive the fight. And I think that you could probably stand to be a little bit more aggressive. Like that fight with Reinhardt, that's approximately the range that I think Tracer should be aiming for. Tracer's a close range fighter who has very high damage drop off. That's an okay bomb. I mean, you got a kill out of it, but do you really want to use your ult on a Soldier? I personally don't want to. I want to use it on that Mercy down there. I mean, luckily she had 1 health, so it was an easy kill. But yeah, man, get the Mercy. Get the people in the back. That's your job. So, like here, I don't know how much damage you did to that Junkrat, but it couldn't have been more than like 10 or 15 damage, just because her damage drop off is so high. So, go in close. Try and get some close range, like shotgun range damage into people. And then when you get into trouble, you just blink away or recall to safety. But this sort of Tracer sniping, I don't think is a good idea. I like going up against Genji. That's smart, but okay, Junkrat's here now. They got you, unfortunately. 2v1, it's not surprising. I kind of feel like you're playing Tracer more like the way Soldier's supposed to be played. Soldier's a medium range, decently mobile person who uses his speed to get into position very quickly, to move from one fight to the other, who likes to shoot people at medium engagement. And that's kind of how you're playing Tracer. You're not really like dashing around the battlefield. You're dashing from one battlefield to the other. And okay, I'm guessing you're not going in because you heard the Genji ult. Like, come on, man. What are you afraid of? Try and support your team. If a Genji ults, I mean, he's only got 200 health, and he doesn't want to be deflecting during his ult, so because that would ruin his oh, that's careful. Oh, there's a Bastion. Yes, okay, you did exactly what you're supposed to do. That's exactly what Tracer's job is, to deal with Bastions. That's a good play there. Anyways, so you should be like ducking in and out of combat and dashing around people and being really slippery and hard to kill. But you're using the Tracer blink. Man, the tire. Okay, you heard the Junkrat tire, and then you fled back to the base. That's, in my opinion, a really bad play, because Tracer's one of the hardest people to kill with the tire, because she's so fast. As soon as you see the tire come close to you, you just blink away or recall or whatever, and it'll never get you. But you're sort of like throwing your team to the wolves. Like, if you can help put however much damage into a tire, 40, 30, 50, whatever it is, then that makes your team that much closer to be able to kill it, which will help your team survive the ult. But instead you're saying, okay, maybe my teammates will die, but I won't. I'll be safe. But the rest of you, good luck. You're on your own. Alright, match 2. And I'm going to focus a little bit more on this conservative play style that you have, where you seem to be very, very concerned about not dying, which is in general a good strategy. I mean, you don't want to die. I like coming into this flanking position. That's really smart. I don't like sniping the Widowmaker. All you did was deal 5 damage and give away your location, and what's the point? And if you'd been a little bit more conservative with your dashes right here, then you could have just dashed down that hallway, killed her, like dash past that turret, and you would have been like totally fine. Like, but instead, you missed that health pack behind you, by the way. But instead, since you use your blinks like you're using it now to just quickly travel around, you end up often not having the blinks that you need to win an engagement when you get into a close-up fight. I mean, Tracer without any blinks, she's just 150 health. You should go in on that, man. Go get her. Go get him. Don't let him get that health pack. Okay, you let him get the health pack. See, that's what I mean. You're a little bit too defensively minded. If you'd gone in immediately when you got him down to less than 1 bar health, then you could have very easily finished him off. But instead, because you were focused on recalling and getting your health back, you gave him an opportunity to get the health pack and survive, and you ended up dying for it. So with Tracer, the best defense is a good offense, and you're playing as the best defense is a good defense, which I don't think is the best way to play Tracer. Again, speaking as a not super experienced Tracer player, this is more sort of like high level game knowledge, and after playing against a shitload of Tracers, I see what they do well, what they don't do well. So coming in on this Torbjorn is excellent. I didn't know he was there. I'm not sure if you knew it either, but it's a good find. I wish you would spend more time behind enemy lines. You're kind of on the front of the engagement and on the sides of the engagement, but never coming in from behind. Sure, you'll die more. Man, go get the tire. Go find the Junkrat. The Junkrat's just sitting there with his hands in his ears, not moving. He's super easy for you to kill. So just go behind the enemy lines, blink behind the enemy lines, try and find the Junkrat and kill the Junkrat. Or try and help your team kill the tire. And if the tire gets close to you, just blink away to safety. But don't just like abandon your team. That's not great. That's not super good team play. So Torbjorn's got the orb on him. Don't go for the Torbjorn, go for the Zenyatta. That will get rid of the orb, and then you can kill the Torbjorn. But I like this positioning. This is one of the few times where you're behind enemy lines, and that's where Tracer really flourishes. So I'd like to see more of this, but you know, dash back to safety. So I would here's what I would do. I would heal up on this thing. Help with the Genji, because you're good against Genji. And then once I was back to full health, I would go back behind enemy lines and try and put pressure on healers. That Zenyatta is gonna have a hard time with you, so I would want to find the Zenyatta and deal some damage to him. Hopefully get some kills. But this front line, sort of like hanging out near the tank and the payload, that's what Soldier wants to do, man. Soldier is a frontline brawler. Once again, try not to waste your ults on tanks. It's just not really what you want to do with your bomb. It won't guarantee a kill, and your job as Tracer is to kill that Widowmaker wherever she is. It's to kill that Zenyatta wherever he is, not kill the tanks. I mean, obviously, if you can kill the tanks, do it. It doesn't hurt to do it, but that's not how I would prefer to use my ult. I like to save it for high value targets. Obviously, these blanks, like getting from your spawn, that's a perfectly reasonable way to use your blinks. It gets you to the fight faster. But now that you're sort of back into the general engagement, you only had 1 blink, which is not... I don't know what this Genji's doing. Man, kill him. What are you afraid of? You have full health. He doesn't. It's... You can easily hurt him. He has trouble hurting you. Like, what? Kill him, man. It's easy. You can probably stand to learn a little bit about who Tracer's best counters are, who you're good against, who you're not good against. Genji is decently in your favor, I would say. There's a Junkrat somewhere, man. Go find the Junkrat, kill him. Go find the tire, help the team with the tire. Here, the tire's so far away from you, you're probably better off hunting for the Junkrat. That's one of my favorite things to do as Genji, which I play a shitload of. When I hear the Junkrat tire, because Genji's not super reliable at killing the tire, because the tire is so fast and because the shurikens are difficult to aim with, I go Junkrat hunting. He's somewhere, probably behind enemy lines, which is, probably deep into the defensive position, and that's where Genji wants to be anyway. So I go hunt him down. You ran a million miles away from that Genji. I know Genji with a sword's pretty scary, so I understand that. I would not put a bomb against Genji. He's just too fast. But yeah, like don't be so terrified of dying to an ult that you just... This Genji loves this strategy. He was doing that earlier. But it doesn't work. It's not a super good strategy. But okay. So 2 down. Your team's in a pretty decent position right now. We should try and go in and get some backline kills. But we're... I don't know what you're doing right now. Did an ult go off? I heard tactical visor, but that's the friendly soldier, so I'm not really sure what you're afraid of necessarily. And we got the Widowmaker ult going off, but this Widowmaker hasn't killed you once, so I'm not afraid of this Widowmaker at that point. I don't know what she's doing, so not super worried about her. Okay, so I think that you as a player might be better suited for soldier. This playstyle that you're trying to use would work pretty solidly with soldier actually. And you're a decent tracer, but if your preference is to be conservative, to quickly move from one battle to another, to fight people at mid-range, then soldier is right up your alley. Tracer isn't. Like, look, there's some McCree shooting at the tire. He's running away, struggling to kill this tire before it gets him. And you could have helped put some bullets in the tire, and maybe you could have saved your McCree. But instead, you sort of left him to die, which sucks. Okay. If you're going to play Tracer, then what I recommend doing is playing Tracer the way Tracer should be played, which is be a flanker, be a close-range fighter, be... Oh, man. So, that Genji killed himself, which means he deflected the ult, and then stood on top of it. So that was unlucky and then lucky. Anyways, yeah, like, Tracer wants to kill healers. She wants to be in the back harassing people. She wants to be up close until things get hairy, and then she wants to blink out of there to safety. But that's just not what you're doing. And I mean, granted, you're doing decently. It's not like you're a terrible tracer necessarily. You're getting a decent amount of kills. You're not dying much. It's just I feel like you'd be more used to your team playing a more aggressive flanking playstyle or playing a character that more suits your playstyle. So here you need to get to the payload so that you can touch it and save your team. Unfortunately, Torbjorn caught you there. So hopefully this advice has been helpful. My overall recommendations are: number 1, be a little bit more aggressive with Tracer. Number 2, use your blinks more in fights rather than to get to and from fights. Number 3, be more close range and focus on healers and backliners. Number 4, try out Soldier, because I think you'd be pretty good at Soldier. Okay, so if anyone wants me to analyze their gameplay footage, please send them to dabacabb@gmail.com. And thanks for watching. Dabacabb out.